So what I really want to lay out in this video is for the business owners, I want to lay out easily for you the types of links, give you the definitions of what they are, how they're utilized, when you should be utilizing them, and which pages you should be building them to. We'll get directly into it. Now, before I do, I want to go ahead and point out chrispalmermarketing.com. First and foremost, I wanted to give you a glossary of sorts of the types of links that we'll be talking about. So citations, directories, all right, and I'll give you definitions in a second. So we're going to talk about citations, directories, press releases. We'll talk about Google News links. We'll also talk about foundation, Web 2.0 links. We'll talk about social links and guest posts. Automated, for most business owners, this isn't necessarily recommended. Other distros, I think that ought to cover it. So here are the types of backlinks that we're going to be talking about primarily. Now I want to, as I explain each of these, I want to make it evidently clear of when they're utilized and the types of pages that you're going to build them to. We're not going to pick a niche because again, this could be an affiliate site. This could be a local site. This is for small business owners, large business owners. The link types are generally the same except for citations and directories. You're going to be utilizing the same links regardless of the campaign that you're running. The only difference is going to be the level, quality, and then the velocity. And velocity means how fast it's going to be built. All right. I'm just going to do a very basic structure to make this make sense. So you have a homepage, a service page, have a top level service page. So let's call this, I'm just using this as reference. This could be utilized for any site, right? So let's say that this is personal injury lawyer. This is going to be a top level service page. What we're going to have underneath that or separate, how about Houston? I just want to lay out a structure. So please note, this is the home page. This is a top level category page. And then this is a location page. I'm sure you might be a visual too. That's how I learn. I'm a visual thinker. So I hope that it helps you out this way because I'm visual. So this is the Houston personal injury lawyer page. All right. We're going to talk about definitions and where these links go and at what time. So we have our homepage, personal injury lawyer, and then we have Houston personal injury lawyer because structure is very important, right? The structure or the layout of the website is very essential to the overall success of your campaign. You could build all the links in the world. If you don't get the content right and you don't get the page structure right, you'll never win. Well, maybe you'll win if you spend enough, but we don't want to do that. Right? So it's going to be website.com. So think of it, yourwebsite.com, primary service page. Wildly important to make sure they have your optimization and the structure right. So here's our types of links that we're going to be utilizing. We have our personal injury lawyer page. So here's our personal injury lawyer page. And then on our personal injury lawyer page, we list out the cities that we actually operate in. Example, most people are only operating in one state. That's what we're going to focus on for the overall examples, structure, and the overall content. Now let's start talking about these links and when they're going to be utilized. First and foremost, we want to talk about citations because for a local campaign, it's one of the very first things that you're going to do as far as link building is concerned. All right. Now, when we're talking about citations, what exactly do I mean? This is where your name, address, and phone number, along with a link to your website, is going to be housed. Some examples of an actual citation are going to be Yelp. So when we go over to Yelp, you'll see it's a name, address, phone number with a link out, probably a description and an image. So if we take a look at more here, so we have the name, we have a link over, the phone number, and an address. And then, of course, they have some images. This is a citation, aka could also be looked at as a directory. But when we're talking about specific directories, generally what's being spoken about is going to be niche specific. So a really good example of a directory and the difference when we're talking about personal injury. Right? So Avo would be a directory. Very, very similar, almost the same thing. You have a name, address, phone number, picture, and a link to your website. Citations, directories, pretty much the same thing, the same goal. It's a cheap link source that's going to have your name, address, phone number, website, and an image. Now, when is this built? Let's talk about that. So now that you understand what a citation and a directory are, let's talk about when they should be built. Citations, along with directories, are generally built at the start of a campaign to the homepage. Citations and directories go to the homepage at the start of a campaign. With that being said, as a caveat to this, when you have multiple locations, you can find yourself building additional citations and directories to those internal pages. For instance, let's say, that we have a personal injury lawyer Houston page. You could also build citations and directory links to those specific pages as well. What would change is going to be the URL, description, and then probably a slight modification to the business name title in that directory. Again, Google's looking at pages, not the entire website. These are cheap, fast, and easy to build. They go to the homepage, and then as you build out other locations, you can build them to internal pages as well. Another piece that's going to be built to the homepage, and generally in the very beginning of a campaign, is going to be your press releases. So what's a press release? Something that we offer as a press release. Again, the sites might vary depending on the type of press release that you write, also the type of business that you are. But to give you a general idea of what these look like. So this is just one for business. A press release is going to be much like a citation or a directory, but the advantage here is you'll get 300 to 400 links, and you get to link out 3 different places in that as well. So Digital Journal is a high authority website that is included in these types of packages. And what's great about this is you get a digital reference, like we talked about. You get multiple links. So this means we can build them not only to the homepage, but also to an internal service page, targeting relevant keywords, going to relevant pages. And as a bonus, you get a citation, 400 links going to multiple places on your website for between $35 and $60. These are generally going to be really good at the start of a campaign. So we have our press release. We can build our press release to the homepage, to the top level page, and you can also build to a service page. So press release links are good for any page, is what I'm getting at. It's press release. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Google News links. Buy them, create them. You have to be massively careful with these types of links. Do not be swayed by the word Google News. These are still privately held websites by SEOs and normal people, right? These are just websites that happen to be Google News approved. Maybe the article will show up in the Google News feed. Perhaps. There's nothing special here. This is other sites that you can get backlinks on. Okay, I just want to make that very, very clear. These types of links are utilized to point at the links that you have already built. I like to actually point these at press releases, citations, and directories. I'll explain to you what I mean by point at these types of backlinks. So you built your citations and your press releases. Let me show you what a Google News site looks like. And then I'll also show you what I mean by point at those existing links that you already have. This is what a Google News site looks like. It's a website that's Google News approved. Very, very common for a site to look like this. Now, what I mean by point links at links that you already have, this right here is an article on a Google News approved website. So very, very similar to that press release. This is a news article that's going to be about your company. What's great about these is because they are privately held, they allow a little bit more flexibility. You're allowed to link out more than 3 times. And what I mean by link out is, see how this is clickable and it goes to another site? The links that you created with your citations or the press release links, put your links inside of here. And instead of linking to your website, you would link to the citations or the press releases that you've already created. And this is called tiered link building. So with these types of properties, I like to power up existing assets that are already in place. What I like to do is I like to build these to the existing links that are already here. So when you create your post, you just put a list of the other links that you've already built inside of that post, and then we could start building out a second tier. Let's talk about foundation links. Pillow links, for links, whatever you want to call it, generally Web 2.0s. What is a Web 2.0? What is a buffer link? What is a pillow link? And what is a foundation link? Talking about this is what they mean. Here, I'll show you. So this is like another site sitting on top of a site. Sometimes they go the other way. You'll get a subdirectory. Before the dot is a subdomain. After the .com going this way is a subdirectory. So this could be considered a foundational backlink. Some of the most common are going to be things like WordPress, a Google site, this is a Web 2.0. So Tumblr, this is a Web 2.0. Known as Weebly, and the list goes on and on and on. These could also be considered pillow links. These are considered buffer links, Web 2.0s. So what they look like, again, I have full control over the content and the anchor text. What's anchor text? Anchor text is this right here. It's a clickable link. So I control the relevance I'm pointing at other sites. Very important. It's really nice to have a tier 1 that I can point links through. It's also really good at the start of a campaign to have these types of assets, also known as a tier 1, where you build these is you can build foundation links to the homepage, to your service page, top level service page, and you could build Web 2.0s to your location-based service pages. Every single page that you want. And the reason why you want to do this is because now you have assets, other websites, that you control completely. You control the content, you control the anchor text, you control everything. You also control if there's any type of incident that happens. An incident could be a manual link action. An incident could be, hey, somebody hacked into one of these sites. I just want to shut it off. Oh, the anchor text is getting a little out of whack. I want to shut this down. Take all the links off of it that are pointing to your site. It's an asset that you have full control over. Very inexpensive. The first ones that you want to build are branded. That's what you name the website, and that's probably the links that you're going to build over to your website. They contain your brand. They're aces. They don't rank very well, but they're good for buffers. So social links, I think this goes without saying what they are. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. These are probably the dundadas, right? These are the biggest ones. When these links are built or at the beginning of a campaign. Why is this important? The reason why it's important is because if you look at the link graph, sites that are like yours, regardless of your industry, if it's a real business, they have these assets. They might not have them all, but they probably have one or two. So we want to build up our backlink profile and our overall footprint. We're a real business, doing real business type links pointing to our homepage. Now, as a caveat to this, as you are building out top level pages based on keywords, it's never going to be harmful. Maybe on Facebook, you could build out business pages that are based on your brand plus the secondary location keyword. So you can also build these social links into top level page. You can build other profiles out into your location-based service pages. The reason why we would build multiples is A, we want to build authority, and B, they make great buffers. Let's move on. Guest posts. Guest posts, there's multiple different flavors. You can get guest posts on a wide range of different sites. Now, with that being said, the primary use of a guest post is going to compete for primary keyword. What's a primary keyword? Personal injury lawyer Houston, it's a primary keyword. In order to win that keyword, it's probably going to take some very strong links. Not only your press releases, your Google News, and your foundation links and social profiles, it's also going to take a level of very high authority backlinks going into those specific pages. And where you want to build these is to any page that you want to rank. If it's a very important page, you want to build it into the pages that you want to rank. What does a guest post mean? And what does a guest post site look like? Let me show you, okay? Let me show you what a guest post looks like. So if you take a look at NP Digital, you go to active, you go to follow. Also, this looks like a guest post. So this is definitely a guest post. So here's what I mean. This will be a great example. I could not say for sure if they bought this post. But for most people like us, there's a cost associated. You're either giving them content or you're giving them money, right? That's just the honest truth. It's going to cost you money or it's going to cost you content. If you scroll down, okay, this looks like not only did he have them in on the podcast, but he's also made a guest post written about the company. Owner of this particular site probably asked him 4 or 5 questions. Ryan probably gave his answers, and then they made a post about it. This is called a guest post. Another example of a guest post is this right here. I'll show you one more example of what I mean. So this was a guest post. In exchange for me answering the questions, they gave me a link back to my website. This is a guest post. Site or your brand or your name is going to be featured on someone else's website and they're going to link back to yours. That's all a guest post is. period, end of statement. So here's a guest post, and there's all different types, and the costs vary. If we go back to our chart, when is this utilized? Throughout the entire campaign. And posts on other sites are utilized in order to help rankings of pages that you really want to rank. So again, these go to the homepage, these go to top level pages, and these also go to your internal location-based service pages. All right, throughout the entire campaign or until you rank. Next, what we want to talk about, automated links. First and foremost, I assure you, if you stick to, I hate to even say this, but if you stick to writing heavily optimized content that is focused around a centralized keyword and you build authoritative backlinks, as long as you have enough patience, you can try all the different tactics. You can chase this and use this tool and do this. But if you actually get well-written, well-optimized content that's on a well-structured website, good CRO, calls to action, and you build links that are potent in enough time, you will rank. So what's that time frame look like? From start to finish, in most markets, depending on competition, you're looking at about 6 to 8 months. You'll start getting traffic immediately, but if you have a brand new website, I wouldn't start counting your chickens until about 8 months. 8 months to a year, that's when the site really starts taking off. With that being said, when and where and why would you utilize automated links? First and foremost, I want to state you don't need automated links. For most business owners, you shouldn't use automated links. It's just not necessary unless you're trying to save money. It's the only reason. Now, where do these links go? Or I could tell you where they never go. They never go to your main website, regardless of whatever the claim is, ever. Build links from an automated tool. No matter what whoever says or what case study they have, never build mass links from a tool directly to your site. But where you can build them is when you build out your citations, build them there, right? To the URLs that are created, their directories, the press releases that you build, web 2s that you build, social links that you build. Now, the reason why I left off Google News and guest posts, these types of sites are owned by people like us. They're not big, large companies. So that's when and where and why to use it. But most of the time, it's probably just not going to be necessary. One last piece that I want to go ahead and touch on. Now, there's a lot that I left off. Other distributions, paid citations, paid profiles, podcasts, and GBPs. Let's talk about these now. This falls in the category of other distributions. Paid profiles. All right. So again, these could be considered paid profiles, but see this like ink. This is where you can have a company profile from a very reputable company for a fee, of course. Now, of course, they're going to check your business license and they're going to do some due diligence, but as long as you're legit, you're running a quality business, you can pay and get listed on a lot of reputable sources. Inc. is one of them. Business Insider is another one. Forbes Connect is another one. If you can afford it, it's effective at the start and throughout an entire campaign. The next piece is going to be podcasts. So there's two, they're looking for people to interview. There's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. There's 51 real estate podcasts. They're looking for people to talk to, regardless of the space. Real estate agent podcast, roofers podcast, lawyer. If you're seeing that a top person in your industry is getting on these, you can quickly get into the link graph. What I mean by this is get links that your competition has. This is one way of doing and getting podcast links and getting distribution fast, usually free. You go to the homepage and they go to pages you're trying to rank. When can you use them? Throughout the entire campaign. You could point those at any page. They're from an authoritative, reputable source. Point them anywhere you want, any page you want. Make sure you're listing your business on the Snapchat map, the Apple map, the Google map, and of course, you want to sign up at Bing local places. Once you have the GBP, it auto syncs for you. Also, once you have the GBP, Apple Maps falls right into place. You can go over to Yandex. You can go over to Baidu. You can go to all the search engines and get your business listed. Take the time. It's worth it. I assure you. I'm going to wrap it up right here.